This is a review of the Winchester Copper Impact in both 12 and 20 gauge. We were fortunate to be able to get some real-world results on how they performed on deer. I had one big concern with all copper ammunition. Copper is much harder than lead. If the projectile is designed poorly, it would be really easy for them not to expand and create the damage necessary for a quick dispatch of the game that you're hunting. Many companies are marketing all copper ammunition for hunting purposes. The reason for this is due to other animals, raptors in particular, that may eat leftover parts of wild game that have small fragments of lead in those parts. Those very small particles can have really bad effects on bald eagles, for example. With this in mind, I thought I would give them a shot and see if they were worth switching over to. I was able to get drawn through a DNR lottery for a shotgun hunt at a place normally not open for hunting. My friend and I were allowed to harvest 2 deer each, and we were lucky enough to fill those tags. I was using the Copper Impact in 12 gauge, and my friend was using the Copper Impact in 20 gauge. My first deer harvested was a nice 8-point. It was slightly quartered to me, and I put the crosshairs on his front shoulder and squeezed the trigger. The buck was obviously hit hard, but stayed on his feet for about 30 yards, where he crashed and expired within a couple of seconds. I followed this nice blood trail to the deer. The shot hit the front shoulder and exited behind the shoulder on the opposite side, damaging heart and lungs along the way. The exit wound was about 1 inch in diameter when I skinned the deer. The second deer was a nice doe. She was broadside, and I sent my slug through both shoulders, dropping her instantly, and she expired almost immediately. When I skinned her out, the entrance and exit were nearly the same as the buck. And now on to the 20 gauge performance. The first deer my friend shot was a young doe. She was quartered to him at a fairly hard angle. His shot entered through the shoulder, and the slug exited about 8 inches in front of the hind quarter on the opposite side. The deer managed to make it about 40 yards downhill before she crashed. And one thing to note when he field dressed the animal was some of the petals of the slug seemed to have broken apart as it went through. And his second deer turned out to be a spike buck that identified as a doe at 50 yards. He presented a broadside shot and was hit behind the shoulder and exited near the same place on the opposite side for a perfect double lung shot. The deer only made it about 20 yards. And here are my conclusions. But first, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It will really help us out to get to our goal of 1,000 subs. Alright, with this sample size, I feel like the performance exceeded my expectations. I think these performed at least as good, if not better, than most sabot slugs currently available. As long as they shoot well out of your rifled shotgun barrel, I would pick these over the Hornady SSTs and Federal Fusion based on slug performance. I would say that they match the performance of the Winchester Partition Gold and my discontinued favorite, the Winchester Platinum Tip. I have to say that these results are not what I expected. I was worried about not having good expansion. All of the exit wounds showed considerable expansion. The cost is roughly the same or a little less expensive as the jacketed lead competitors. I will likely continue to use these slugs going forward. If I can help non-targeted wildlife species while getting effective results at a similar price, it's really a no-brainer. And I hope this helps, and I wish a safe, fun, and successful season to all of you.